Cool.
To start this mother.
Well,
Shut your mouth.
let me go grab one more Coke just in case.
Yeah, I'll get a cup of coffee. Oh, that's good.
Hey, there we go.
Yay!
So we starting at 8 then?
9, yes.
Well, 8 my time. What's it like in the future?
It sucks, man.
Sucks.
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 Totally sucks. But I mean, it's not just Star Wars. It's like in general that we'll discuss. Like Star Trek and just the running franchises at the moment. Are they even on the right path?
Yeah.
I don't want I don't want breaking the fourth wall to step on the toes of our Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
Speaking of, War of the Stars has its guest for next month.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, because he was talking about he didn't have anybody.
Well, he does now.
Who'd he get?
Our first repeat,
Oh, yeah?
John Jackson Miller.
Really? Good man.
Our first repeat guest.
He's a good man. I talked to John Jackson Miller not too long ago.
Well, apparently, this happened today.
He was kind enough to send me a bumper for the Star Wars Canon podcast. So
I mean to ask Mike Quinn if he'll do one for us.
I asked him too, and he said remind him in a week, and he'd send me one. So
Well, I was thinking Quinn could be for fourth wall though, because you got John Jackson Miller, and we have
yeah,
nobody.
but I had Mike Quinn first.
But I have a great idea for his bumper. We have him say it, and then right afterwards we take a clip of fucking Nine Nub.
Hey, you got Mike Quinn when you did your little petition, your cute little petition about pineapple on pizza. I didn't get him. You got him then, so I get him this time. You guys fucking owe me.
Don't be a fucking liberal. Don't be butthurt just because Hillary lost.
15 seconds, little man. Put Mike Quinn in my hand. If that bumper doesn't show that you owe me, oh.
God. Oh, you're not upstaging me, Vanderbeek.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. Fucking, what the fuck is wrong with us?
The shorter list would be what's not wrong with us.
Probably true.
Yep. I don't think there's any probably to it. That's balls both.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, that's the topics of conversations I have. And my bitch of an ex-wife.
Oh, fuck that bitch. Fuck her.
Which, if it's picking up my mic, great.
Fuck her.
I hope she's listening.
Fuck her.
Can't take me to court for expressing a feeling.
I know how she is.
And she'll lose in court for me expressing a feeling.
Oh, damn.
I'm not saying I want her dead or anything. All I said is she's a bitch. Guess what? She's a bitch.
Damn. Why don't you tell us how you really feel? But wait 2 more minutes to do it.
I'm not a good father because I don't take the kids out everywhere every fucking weekend that I have them. Well, gee, I don't have the fucking money. I wonder whose fault that is.
True story.
I bet if I wasn't paying child support to you, you wouldn't have the money to be the fun parent either.
Damn. Damn. Can you hear my fan at all on the mic?
No.
No? That is good because I've got it on and I'm sweating balls. And
all 3 of them.
All 3? Why did Amazon just email me?
It's a saying you need more stuff.
What? Because I don't have a Boomba.
Finger Hut really, really wants me to buy more shit. I'm almost completed on this computer.
Oh my God.
And within 2 months, they've raised my my credit limit twice.
Nice.
They really want me to buy more shit.
Oh my God. Well, but it's 8 o'clock. What do you say we get the show on the road?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Ugh. Intro. He's bobbing and weaving to it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Christopher Stolle here, and joining me as always, he would be the Lucky Charms without the marshmallows, but still would be gay as shit, Mr. Brian Miller.
They're after me, Lucky Charms.
Boy. And today we're going to discuss some shit that really there's not a whole lot in the news world that I care about. I mean, we could talk about one thing. Hey, Justin Bieber got married.
That must be a cute lesbian couple.
I hope they make an honest woman out of Biebs. That's it. Show's over. Thanks for watching.
Hey, yeah, nice. Hey, make sure to tune in. Yeah.
No. Second thing we could talk about real quick. This one kind of irks me a little bit, and I don't know how you feel about it. I told you a second ago, but we'll get your actual on-air impression here.
Oh shit. Steven
Spielberg, of course, he's getting set to do Indiana Jones 5. And he in an interview he stated that he would have no problem with a female Indiana Jones. Now, In this article, I found it on social media and all that. In this article, my thought process is if we're talking about like Indy's long lost daughter taking up the mantle, I'd be fine with it. But if we're talking about like a Ghostbusters Answer the Call type reboot where we just erase everything that was iconic of Indiana Jones, absolutely not. But Brian, let me hear your opinion. What do you think about this? Even the inclination of a female Indiana Jones.
We already have a female Indiana Jones. Her name's Laura fucking Croft. Like, we already fucking have one. Why do we need... Like, look, I got no problem. Like, I'm not one of these people. You want to put more women in stuff? Put more fucking women in stuff. It doesn't bother me that much. But don't go the fuck out of your way to specifically typecast certain people. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it just because it's the trendy fucking thing to do. You know, do it because you have a good story. Like, if they come up with a good story with a female Indiana Jones, I'll give it a shot. Indiana Jones doesn't even get his real fucking name. You know?
No, it's Henry.
Henry. You know, so...
Indy was the dog.
Yeah. He was named after the fucking dog. So
yes, I've seen the movies, folks.
Yeah, we already have a female Indiana Jones. Her name's Laura Croft. She's the Tomb Raider.
I mean, I get that, but you know, Lara Croft, as far as like silver screen movies, has never been that successful.
That ain't my problem.
Because it's a video game movie, and there hasn't been a successful video game movie ever. You know, the most successful was the original Mortal Kombat.
What are you talking about? That Mario Brothers movie was the shit.
Look, again, just like Battlefield Earth, Mario Brothers is actually a guilty pleasure movie.
Oh, why?
It's one of the because it's one of those movies I could shut my brain off and just laugh at it.
Oh, God.
Come on, Dennis Hopper as Bowser. You know, but
no, it's not good. No.
If you want the worst Dennis Hopper performance ever, it is not Mario Brothers.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Yeah.
I've got worse.
Do you?
The Fourth Crow movie, Wicked Prayer.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I think I forced myself to forget about that. Oh my God, why the fuck would you?
A devil worshipping pimp, homie.
Good God.
Yeah, it was bad. It just go look it up, guys. You'll love it. But you know, the fact of the matter is that video game movies have always failed. So I can see the point of like, okay, Lara Croft really isn't the female Indiana Jones. She's just the female video game version of it. Until they actually have a decent video game movie with her.
The last Tomb Raider movie that came out was pretty good.
Wait, are we talking the new one or are we talking the Angelina Jolie?
No, the new one.
All right, I haven't seen it, so I hold no opinion.
It's pretty good.
All right. You know, but with video game movies, you learn to have low expectations. That's why I like Wing Commander.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freddie Prinze, but you know I do like it, even though it is garbage.
That's why my marriage is still holding together.
What, Wing Commander?
No, low expectations.
Oh.
So,
well, with the way I just got attacked by pillows for
Jar
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 Jar impressions.
I know, right? God.
The way I got attacked by pillows for Jar Jar impersonations, I'm pretty sure my marriage is held on by low expectations too.
What? We don't have a boomba. Here, take on this one.
No, but you know the long and the short of it is like I kind of agree with you that as long as they have a good story for it, I'm on board. But that is the expectation or the exception to the rule is I don't want a rebooted Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to reboot him with a young Indiana Jones, cool. Get Alden Ehrenreich to
That's what I was getting ready to say. Get Alden Ehrenreich to play.
Get Alden.
Yeah, I can already hear nerds' heads exploding around the fucking world.
Exactly.
I can already fucking hear it. I love it.
You know, but get a young Indiana Jones. But if we're talking about changing Indy and passing the guard to like a daughter or maybe a mentor student from his college who takes up the mantle of Indiana.
The one that closed her eyes and it said "Love You" on her eyelids.
Yeah, you know, if you're talking about something like that, then I could be more on board with. But if you're just turning around and turning Dr. Henry Jones into Dr. Henrietta Jones.
Yeah, that's no.
No, that's
and then you have Harrison Ford make a cameo, not as Henry Jones.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well, what would you do? Would you let's say they did reboot it? Would
Okay.
you redo Last Crusade and have Harrison Ford taking on Sean Connery's role?
No.
Dad.
Junior. Junior.
The penitent man is kneels before God.
Junior.
I told you, don't call me Junior. But
Hey, completely off topic for a second, though. I do
Sure.
want to talk, since we're talking about Harrison Ford, I'm in the middle of reading Solo, a Star Wars story right now,
Okay.
the novel. They explain how he got the scar on his chin in the book.
you know, it's funny. I'm glad they
do.
did that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did that because remember, in we were just talking about Indiana
Last
Jones'
Crusade.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
You know, River Phoenix playing the young Indiana Jones.
Yep.
They explained the
cracked
scar
that
on
whip,
that. Yeah.
This one, he in the novel, spoiler alert for those of you that haven't read it, or if you haven't got the special features, it's a deleted scene. But I guess he crashes a TIE fighter into the docking bay of a Star Destroyer while he's in Imperial, and he cracks his chin on the control panel. So he's standing in his tribunal getting punished, and he's got the crack on
scar.
his chin, and the medic droid did what they could with it just real quick, and yeah, he's got it. He's got the open gash still. I was like, yes!
Nice. So yeah, I mean, the long and the short of it is that like I'm getting tired of this. Just like with the exiting of Henry Cavill as
we gotta
Superman.
talk about that. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, we do got to talk about that. I forgot to mention that in the opening, but it brought me there. I'm fine with Henry Cavill no longer wanting to step into the red boots and cape. But I liked him as Superman, but I'm fine with him not doing it anymore. What I'm not fine with is their first choice they have is
Michael B.
Jordan. All right, look, this is going to sound racist. This is not meant to be racist.
I know this is. Oh my god!
But there has
I can
never
already hear
been
heads
a
exploding.
black Superman in the 75+ year history of Superman. I'm sorry, this is one time I'm going to turn around and say this constant, like we were talking about earlier, this constant political need to change everything white male into everything but white male needs to stop. Superman is one of those icon characters that is, and even though he's a superhuman alien, he is an everyman character, but was designed to be what he is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there can't be a godlike African American superhero. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there couldn't have been another Kryptonian who wound up showing up. You know what? There was a TV show on Sci-Fi called Krypton.
Yeah.
And Zod was black. I had no problem with it. None. I thought the guy did a great job as Zod. But a black Superman, no. We had a black Superman. It was called Steel. Anybody remember Shaquille O'Neal? It didn't work out too well. I don't want that again.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, why is everybody on Michael B. Jordan's dick? He's not that good of an actor.
No, he wasn't that good in Black Panther. He wasn't good. He wasn't good as the Human Torch.
No, he wasn't good.
No.
Just because he's buff doesn't make him good.
Rock.
The Rock's the Rock's good.
No.
The Rock's good. Come on,
No.
Doom.
Blah, blah, blah.
Doom.
Ugh.
The Tooth Fairy.
Oh God. Oh.
Okay, which was worse? The Rock's version of the Tooth Fairy or Vin Diesel's pacifier?
Oh no, Tooth Fairy. I actually liked Pacifier. I actually did like that. That was actually pretty funny.
But no, yeah. The long and the short is, it's like I'm all for diversity in superheroes, but changing characters for the sake of diversity rather than just creating diverse characters needs to stop.
You want to make a black Superman movie? Dust off Hancock and finally make a fucking sequel. Because when Hancock first came out, I loved Hancock. I still do.
Hey, what's up, Agro Dad?
Hey, is he watching? What's up, brother? I loved Hancock. I still love Hancock. It's a great movie. It was a good original superhero film. You know, a good, I don't want to say origin story, but a good original superhero film. And then they talked about how they had like 30 some odd sequels planned for it. You know, that they had 30 different sequels written. Go back and dust one of those off.
Now, to be fair, even though I'm saying I wouldn't want Michael B. Jordan as Superman, or I would want a white male character as Superman. I'm sorry, it's who the character is. It's been that way for almost 100 years. But the alternate choice that people are clamoring for, I would rather have Michael B. Jordan.
Who?
Fuck Nicolas Cage. I know he was supposed to play for Superman Lives. Thank God that whole entire movie was completely shit canned. You know, if you ever watch one of the evenings with Kevin Smith, he describes and discusses it because he was actually brought on to be a co-writer of it, and he even walked away because of how terrible it was. No Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was terrible enough as a Ghost Rider. Okay, that's all the comic book movies needed.
Wait, real quick. Ghost Rider is the only comic book movie that I've ever seen get a hard reboot, and they use the same fucking actor from the first one to play the character again. That is the only time I've ever fucking seen that happen.
Look, we can get we're into comic books. We can get into comic books. I'm gonna steal from Steven Crowder. I'm going to steal from Steven Crowder at the moment. So, Agrodad, pay attention. Brian, you as well. For those who don't know, he's a political commentator on YouTube and all that. But he's got his little segment that's called Change My Mind.
Yeah.
Where he goes out on the street and he asks people.
Sets up a desk.
He sets up a desk and he sits down and he gives a political point of view and he invites you to sit down and change his mind on why his belief is wrong.
I tried that on Facebook today and I never got a response.
I saw that. Well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right here. I'm mildly obsessed with Michael B. Jordan. The kid has a fucking awesome career ahead of him. He was stellar in Creed and Black Panther, and Creed 2 looks amazing. I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't think he's a good actor at all. I have not seen anything, including Creed or Black Panther, that I thought he was good in. Personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Personal opinion. That has nothing to do with his skin color. I just don't like his acting. He's stiff to me. He's stiff and very generic to me.
Mm-hmm.
For what that's worth. But all right, here's the point that changed my mind. I think the DCEU is better than Marvel.
Okay.
I was really thinking about this today a lot. And even though DC has not had the numbers Marvel has had,
mm-hmm.
and again, I'm not discounting things like Avengers. I'm not discounting things like Captain America Civil War. But I think the stories, or not even just the DC in general, not, the live action DC movies. I'll throw in the original 4 Superman movies, and I will throw in the Nolan and the Burton Batmans and stuff of that nature into this argument, because I know Marvel has a lot more than DC has as far as like live action movies are concerned. But I would put Avengers Infinity War up against Dark Knight. And then even like the not as celebrated movies of like Elektra, Blade, stuff of that nature, those types of Marvel movies. What about The Watchmen?
Yeah.
So changed my mind. I think even though Marvel, the MCU has enjoyed more of a popularity, I think the DCEU is actually a better film universe. Okay.
First off, I don't agree nor disagree with you. But
Agrodad, what alternate universe are we in? Is it opposite day? DC is better than Marvel? Are you guys pranking me?
No. Okay, wait. Look, I can call a spade a spade. Okay? Personally, before I get started,
yeah.
Comic book wise, not films, comic book wise, I've always been DC over Marvel.
Oh,
Superman's my boy. I don't understand the bat boner everybody has, but I like Batman, not to the degree a lot of people do. but I can call a spade also. Film for film, Marvel wins, in my opinion. The film universe. That being said, I had more fun watching Justice League than I did the first Avengers. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
I think Avengers was the better film, but I had more fun watching Justice League. If that makes any sense. I want the DCEU to be successful. I would kill to have an awesome DC universe where you can have Green Lantern Corps, and I mean, and all these other great franchises. I'd kill to have that. But don't try to copy what Marvel's doing. Just because it works for Marvel doesn't mean it's going to work for DC. And at the same time, don't play fucking catch up. You don't have to play catch up. Why do you have to catch up? Why do you have to be on par with Marvel? You don't have to be. Tell the stories that make the most sense next in, chronologically in your timeline. Don't necessarily go standalone ensemble film. Standalone ensemble film. Not necessarily. I think they were on the right track doing, Man of Steel and then Batman v Superman. That made sense. I mean, if Superman came out of nowhere, Batman would be going, shit, what the fuck is this guy? Like, are you fucking serious? Like, that makes sense, naturally throughout the story.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. We're just gonna tuck that. We got this box. We got this little box. We're gonna put Suicide Squad in here, or we're gonna throw this motherfucker in the ocean. All right, and that one, Wonder Woman was good. I loved Wonder Woman, and I had fun with Justice League. I really, truly did. It's just losing Henry Cavill. That fucking sucks. And look, and the mustache thing. I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it until after everybody started bitching about it. How hard would it have been to shave that motherfucker off and give him a fake mustache for Mission Impossible?
Well, look, don't forget that Henry Cavill's exit is also pretty much opening the door for Affleck's out. So we're not only losing Superman, we're losing Batman.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says. I think Ben Affleck has been one of the best modern incarnations of the Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know people argue every day about Bale or about Keaton or whatever else, but I was one of the people that were like, Ben Affleck, are you fucking serious as Batman? But when I saw him in Batman v Superman, he completely 180'd me. He was absolutely perfect as a world-weary, I've done this too long Batman and Bruce Wayne. Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
I will say this much for the DCEU, because I talked earlier, do a different kind of thing than what you've done with Marvel. I'll say this much: I didn't like how Batman was already I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. Don't get me wrong, but with you've had Batman for 20 years, right? And now all of a sudden Superman shows up. Now Aquaman shows up. Like, Batman was there for 20 years before everybody else. I mean, not counting Wonder Woman. Obviously, Wonder Woman was there for a hell of a lot longer. But I mean, front and center in the spotlight. No. Give me a DCEU where Superman comes to Earth and he's the one, at the same time he's coming out, as Superman. That's when you've got Batman, Bruce Wayne coming back to Gotham and becoming the Batman for the first time. That's when you've got, Hal Jordan or John Stewart, whichever one, becoming Green Lantern. That's when you've got Barry Allen having his run-in with the electrical storm and getting his powers. That's when you've got Wonder Woman coming out of that's when you've got all this coming out at once.
See, I got to disagree. I like the way they set it up. I like the fact that Batman was running around Gotham. He was a local hero for all this time. But, and they really address the fact that he is in his 40s. They address the fact that he's beaten up to all hell, even though he's still in, I wish to God I had fucking Ben Affleck's physique, and stuff of that nature. His workout routine.
I'd have to go buy a whole new fucking wardrobe.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he fit into the role.
That was all him in that suit, by the way. There wasn't a stitch of padding on that suit.
Oh, I know.
That was all him.
Well, I know that, but
so beefy. So beefy.
He should have done the Kylo shirtless scene. Yeah,
God
me too.
Superman.
God Superman. But no, but where was I going with that?
I don't even remember.
But with Batman taking on the role in Justice League as the leader, as the brain of the group, because he doesn't have a superpower.
That I like.
He couldn't keep up with the Flash. He couldn't go toe to toe with Superman without a bionic suit, and stuff of that nature. That was perfect for a world-weary Batman. This guy has the experience to run this team.
Yeah.
Year one Batman, no way. No way. He couldn't run Justice League year one.
I don't know. You know what? I take back kind of what I said earlier about doing standalone, and then ensemble. Don't even, look. When Marvel started, right, with Iron Man, they had this plan from the get-go because of the whole Nick Fury thing at the beginning with the Avengers. They had the plan to get up to Avengers, right?
Right.
All right, so if the DCEU, let's say they were to start over, right? Reboot everything. Don't even think about Justice League yet. Don't even start wrapping your head around that yet. Just establish your characters first.
But
right?
why would you reboot?
But
oh my God!
You're gonna
why
have
would you...
to. You're going to have to at this point.
Why? Why?
If we're losing Henry Cavill and we're losing Ben Affleck, those are two of your three Trinity right there.
We can't get John Hamm, and we can't get somebody else to play Superman.
I don't think it would go over well because then you're
would
just.
We
copying,
really want to
but
erase? Would we really want to erase Wonder Woman?
But you gotta have
Green Lantern. I get. We want to erase that, but Wonder Woman.
Well, look. A lot of people are always like, nobody else could ever play that role. That person was born to play that role. Like Robert Downey Jr., right? Let's take him for an example.
Nightwing, yes. Robin, no. Sorry, Agrodad Gaming. It's like, can we retire Batman and get some Robin movies or Nightwing? There's one. Ben Affleck could step out of the role. There you go. Here you go. Batman, he could... Thank you very much, Cocky Cockpit. It is up in here.
Hey,
he says, wow, you guys stepped up your game in the UI. Yes, we did. No, Ben Affleck, play Batman one more time and retire as Batman and introduce Terry McGinnis. Bring me Batman Beyond.
Oh, nah. That's the thing. Look, you got to... Sweaties know about Batman Beyond. General movie-going audience doesn't. That would be like coming out with a Spiderman 2099 movie right now. Like, that wouldn't go over well with general audiences. That would go over good with nerds, but it wouldn't go over well with general audiences, I don't think.
General audiences would get on board with it because, and especially in this day and age of political correctness, Spider-Man 2099, that's a Hispanic character.
Is it? Yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
He is a Latino character. I can't remember his name, but he's a Latino character. He would totally take off. People would be fine with it. The same as if we did the Into the Spider-Verse and had Miles Morales appear. People would be absolutely okay with it in this current climate. There would be no argument with it. I think all you have to do is introduce this kid accidentally stumbling into the fact that here's Batman's Batcave and puts on this experimental suit, and Batman realizes that this might be the right kid for it. You sold it. It's basically the exact same thing as the Batman Beyond comic. You sold it.
I don't know.
However, you could introduce Nightwing, which everybody knows is Robin, the original Robin, Dick Grayson.
Right.
And not the bullshit one from Teen Titans.
Fuck Batman.
Fuck Batman. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises did kind of hint towards that.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you introduce him and then put him in the suit. Because that happened in the comic, too. Long before Terry McGinnis, Dick Grayson put on the suit.
Yeah.
And became the new Batman. So... either way, you could still do that. Batman doesn't necessarily have to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So why do we have to reboot him when we could just move on? Because in my mind, and people take it for what it is, in my mind, Affleck's Batman could be Nolan's Batman, could be Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney Batman. The fact of the matter is like those movies could tie into what Ben Affleck presented to us in the current DCEU. So you already have your Batman backstory. We don't need it again.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sick of seeing a Batman origin story.
Well, not just a Batman origin story. We don't need to constantly reboot that franchise.
Yeah.
We can build off of what has already existed for the story.
Think about it. We're on our third iteration of Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah, but it took 3 to get it right.
maybe it's going to take 3 to get Batman right. And some people,
Batman is right.
Well, and to you and me, yeah, but there's a lot of people that still go.
Look, Batman was right with Keaton. Batman
Agreed.
was, in my argument, Batman was right with Kilmer. Batman was destroyed with Clooney.
Yeah. Ugh.
Then Bale came, and Batman was absolutely right in that trilogy.
Yeah.
Then came Affleck, and that Batman was absolutely right. Dude, outside of Clooney, Batman has not been wrong.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of Christian Bale, but yeah,
There's
an argument can be
degrees
made,
on
yeah.
who did it better than who,
Oh yeah.
but overall, Batman has been done right in every incarnation except Clooney's.
Mm-hmm.
So
that movie was just a train wreck in general. Like I don't mean that politely
what the
either.
fact
I
that
mean,
you think Batman Ninja's
oh
worse?
God, no, Batman Ninjas. Oh, holy crap! I would take Batman and Robin over Batman Ninja any day.
But
Here's
here's
I'll stand behind DC's animated stuff. I love their animated stuff. That is some of the great. That is some of the best comic to film adaptation stuff I've ever seen.
Batman and Harley Quinn.
Ninja
That's all I'm
Batman.
going to say.
I haven't seen that one yet.
The scene where Batman and Nightwing are sitting in the Batmobile with Harley Quinn in the back, and Harley Quinn had a burrito.
Oh no, this is our fart joke.
Yes, there is. Although it was hilarious because Robin's trying to ask Batman how to open the window after she lets one rip, and Batman's sitting as stoic as he can be, driving, and then all of a sudden you just see his gloved hand come up. Funniest part of the whole movie. But no, yes, there was a fart joke. The only good thing about Batman and Harley Quinn was Swamp Thing was in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, so
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
that was pretty interesting. But my argument for DC being better than Marvel as far as the DCEU is concerned over the MCU is the biggest failure for DCEU has not been the storytelling. It has not been the acting.
It's the directors.
It's not even the directors.
I think it's the directors.
It's the studio.
Well,
look, there's a reason.
No, yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
That the Zack Snyder Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman is 100 times superior to what we got in film.
I hated Batman v Superman until I watched the Ultimate Edition. I love the Ultimate Edition.
You know, the Justice League, same deal. What destroyed Green Lantern? It was the studio. They wanted it to come out that way. Warner Brothers has been its own worst enemy when it comes to these films.
You're not wrong.
But the stories that the basic premise stories of the DCEU, I think have been far superior to what Marvel has come out with thus far.
I'll say Suicide Squad was a train wreck, but
well, I don't count Suicide Squad as DCEU.
No, I'm the Enchantress. Yeah, no.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the only good thing that came out of Suicide Squad is I did like Margot Robbie as
Harley. Yeah.
Harley. I didn't. Now the male in me loved the outfit, but the comic book fan in me hated the outfit. But the way she played Harley was spot on to me.
Well, you could get any cute blonde girl with a Brooklyn accent and put makeup on her, and she'd be a good Harley. I mean, literally, you could get any Brooklyn girl to do it. But it's, yeah, Margot Robbie.
Topic, but off topic. Have you guys ever seen Batman Dead End fan film? No, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, please, while we're discussing, please give me a little synopsis. Tell me what it's about.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but Margot Robbie really captured the role.
Yeah.
And the best part of that film was when they had the flashback scene of her dancing with Jared Leto's bullshit Joker. But she was actually
please don't call him Joker. Just refer to him as Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, but she was in the red and black suit. She was in the classic Harley Quinn outfit. That to me was perfect. And if you would have done the whole film with her in that outfit.
I don't know if that suit transfers well to film though.
I thought it did.
I mean it looked good compared to the comic book, but I mean, look at like the Arkham games, right? You've got to, if you're going from comic to film like that, you have to modernize some stuff and make it more realistic. You know, kind of like what they did with the Arkham games. Yeah.
Modernize, but in the Arkham games, they didn't modernize. They fucking sexualized the shit out of every female character in Batman.
Yeah, they did.
Ivy's walking around butt
Ivy's
ass
supposed
naked.
to be that way. Ivy's supposed to be seductive.
Seductive, not butt ass naked. Selena Kyle's supposed to be seductive.
Yeah.
but not looking like she had her uniform painted on. And then, what do we even say about Harley's outfits in the games?
Corset was pretty cool.
Yeah, except she was popping out of it. Look, I'm all
The
I'm all
corset was
for-
pretty cool.
I'm all for sexiness. Absolutely, I'm all for sexiness. But even I've got to say that's just exploitation.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do, though, and in Arkham, I think it's City. I'm pretty sure it's Arkham City. There's a part where you're coming up on, because you're playing Arkham City now, aren't you?
Yeah, I just did one episode of it.
There's one part where you're and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but it's toward the end of the game. There's a part where you're trying to get to like one of these boss fights, and you find Harley tied to a pipe, and Joker put her there. And she's got a piece of tape over her mouth, and you can walk up and rip the tape off of her mouth, and she's like, "Are you happy now, B-Man?" And she's like, "I'm not going to tell you that the Joker's in blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "Oh, crap." And you put the tape back on her mouth, and you just keep ripping it off over and over again. And she just finally starts. It's funnier than hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But,
That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, yep. I 100% all the Batman games but Arkham Knight. Right on Cocky Cockpit. That is Dave Fritchcorn. Guys, just real quick, remember to stay tuned with us after breaking the fourth wall because we will be joining the Cocky Cockpit for, yes, that's right, Order 69 is returning. We are doing it on the PS4, correct, Dave?
Yes. Yes. Speaking of PS4.
Dave says Brian's Harley impression is pretty good. You should hear his Jar Jar.
Misa don't have a boomba.
Now do it in a Harley Quinn
take
voice.
him this one.
Do Jar Jar's
Oh my God.
dialogue as Harley Quinn.
But Misa don't have a boomba, Mr. J. There you go. You're exploiting me.
That's a soundbite.
Yeah, you're exploiting
That's a
me.
soundbite.
I don't appreciate that.
How's it feel to be sexually exploited?
I love it. About time.
Hey.
It took 30 years, but it's finally happening.
It's because you finally
Except
got
for that
fat enough
time when I was
tits got
7.
big.
Except for that time when I was 7.
Look, you hit puberty. Your boobs are finally coming in. You're blossoming. All right, let's get into the story. And you know what, Dave, I see that you're hearing, you're watching the video, and we absolutely love the fact that you're watching it. And we love the fact that you are a part of our family here unofficially for Realm of the Mist Entertainment. He says that was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, take up this one.
If you want to call in, we're on Skype right now. If you want to Skype in, I would love your opinion on this next topic because we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of it. It's time to hit it.
I'd have to figure out how to do this.
If he calls in, we'll figure it
I'll
out.
make it
We'll
work,
get
yeah.
him in there.
I'll make it
Yeah,
work.
we'll bring him in there somehow. You know, it may even be a temporary thing that we'll have to for later on
Yeah, no, I'll make it
fit
work.
in.
I'll make
Yeah.
it work.
But yeah, call in, Dave, because I'd love your opinion on this. And that topic of conversation, there are a lot of franchises running right now. Of course, Brian and myself are huge Star Wars fans. Huge. If you've ever watched Breaking the Fourth Wall, you already know this. But not just Star Wars, but the epic franchises in general. A lot of them, and it's going to stem off of Star Wars because we're going to talk about Star Wars. But a lot of them in general have been going on a very long time, and some of them have split the fan base, like we were just talking about with DC and Marvel, stuff of that nature. And Star Wars, I mean, Last Jedi and Solo is enough to really get where I'm going with this. But I mean, you could even argue the prequels and what we're about to discuss. Are these big budget movie franchises on the right direction? Now, let me explain. I'm not talking about whether the movies were good or not good. That exists. But whether or not the storylines and the directions that they are taking these franchises and have taken these franchises, are they the right course of action? Or is this the right way to go? Guys, not only do I want your opinion that are watching, here on twitch.tv or even the replay on Patreon or on YouTube. Guys, I definitely want to read your comments and get your opinions on this. But Brian, we'll start with you, man. And I know you're going to hit Star Wars right off the bat. So
yeah, that's the first thing I'm going for. Yeah.
Of course. Is it on track? Is it on the track it should be on?
All right. First off, let me start this by saying I stand behind Lucasfilm and Disney on a lot of the stuff that they've done so far with the films and the comics and the new canon and stuff like that. I do stand behind a lot of it, right?
Okay.
But it gets to a point where even I'm looking at it going, it's starting to look like Disney's trying to ramp up and milk this thing. Because I know a lot of people have been saying that for years already. But even I'm starting to look at it going, that's not necessary. That's not necessary. Why are you doing that? That's hard to deny now, you know? I mean,
Right.
And one of the biggest things that got me is, you know, I'm a canon junkie, right? I mean, I've got all my canon stuff up on the shelf. They're coming out with a canon novel at the end of next month that is $100 fucking dollars. $100 for this fucking book. And like, I have to go buy this fucking thing because I have to have it. Like, and it's only got 6 stories in it. Like,
what is it? Like, what's the book?
It's called Smuggler's Guide, and it's a leather bound book. That's probably where the money's coming from. It's a leather bound book. It's like a journal that somebody found on the Falcon of different people that have had the Falcon and different stories. And one of them's like Hondo Anaka, right? So like, I'm like, oh shit, now I have to buy this fucking book. Like,
they do fly.
They do fly. But I gotta go buy this stupid thing. Like, why? Like, you know, and you know,
Dad said it right. They are smuggling your money out of your wallet.
No, they're not even smuggling it. They're tricking me into giving it to them. Like, I don't know. It's getting to the point now.
It's not piracy. It's free enterprise.
It's a legitimate strategy.
Fucking camper.
I know. Oh, you gonna learn tonight.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But, you know, it does get to a point where it's like, even I can't deny some of this stuff, you know? I mean, you look at, like, for an example, right? The Resistance trailer, the new TV show Resistance that's coming out. Have you looked at the likes and dislikes on that trailer?
I haven't read any of the comments. I've seen the like and dislike numbers.
Oh my God. When I did Star Wars Canon Podcast last week, this is almost a week ago, by the way. When I recorded Star Wars Canon Podcast, I looked at it. I even talked about this on episode 6. At that point, the likes, at one point, like 4 million views, it had 12,000 likes and 120,000 dislikes. Literally 10 times more dislikes than likes. And some of the comments on it were, I didn't even watch the trailer, I just hit thumbs down because of Last Jedi. Like you've got people doing that, right? Because of Solo.
Right.
And you can't ignore the numbers for Solo, right? Like the box office number. But then you turn around and you look and you know, Blu-ray sales for Last Jedi are the highest 2018. But what is the Solo Blu-ray going to do? You know, like once the Solo Blu-ray comes out and, you know, depending on what those numbers are, that's when you need to step back and go, they might need to alter course a little bit here because they're pissing a lot of people off. Because
yeah, but at the same time, you're talking about a fickle fan base that comes out online and blasts the shit out of Last Jedi, but it's the highest selling fucking DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah,
you know, because of the fact that I hate Star Wars Last Jedi so much. Ooh, new copy.
Yeah,
it's still in their fucking collection.
Yep.
They ain't fooling nobody. They still have, even if they're not watching it, they still spent the money and put it in their Star Wars collection. Okay, the case in point, I own a fucking Rose Tico figurine.
Yes, so do
I hate that character, but I got it. It's in my collection.
Yeah,
I hate Jar Jar. He's in my collection.
I can't say that.
I absolutely despise L337. I guarantee you, I get it at the right price. L337 will be up on my wall with my other figures as well. It's going to happen. Star Wars fans collect. Yeah. I don't care how much you love or dislike it. You're going to buy it because it belongs with the collection, and Disney knows that.
Yeah. Well, shit. I mean, like, you know, I'm a Black Series collector, right? I mean, you guys can't see it, but on that wall over there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 figures across that wall for the first row, and then, like, row upon row of 7 after that, right? All the way down.
Right.
You know, and I got a Tauntaun there that I haven't put up. You see everything on the wall behind me. Like, shit, yeah, I'm OCD when it comes to collections. I have to have them all. And I kind of fucked myself with the Black Series because I got into it late. I'll never get caught up. There's no fucking way I'll ever get caught up on Black Series.
eBay.
No. You don't buy Black Series off eBay. I learned that the hard way. I was trying to get a Redbox Darth Maul for the first couple waves they did. And, because because that's the only one I'm missing is Darth Maul, and I found one for $80, and I'm like, shit. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna do this. So I ordered it. I got it in a padded envelope.
He's actually pulling out the envelope.
No, one like it. I got it in a padded envelope, just like this one, right, with bubble wrap inside of it. The corner of it was crushed, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious? I gotta open this to make sure it's not damaged." And sure enough, the entire front corner of it was just bashed in. The little plastic bubble, the little window in it was all torn out of it and shit. I'm like, fucking hell. And then I looked at it, and it was actually a factory misprint. And that's the kind of stuff I collect, are factory fuck-ups. And this one, it had the picture of Darth Maul in the box, but the barcode said Sand Trooper. And I'm like,
We got one like that hanging up on the wall now, those like little micro ones.
Yeah.
That Jen has. It's actually hers. Of the box, the DC minifigures.
Yeah.
The box on the window, it says Harley Quinn, and it's Wonder Woman inside.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that
factory
shit goes,
sealed.
That shit but it was bashed in, so me being, fucking pissed off, I opened it in anger. I was like, fuck it! And I ripped it open. So I was like, well, I guess now I got a Darth Maul figure to pose somewhere. So I tried posing him, and his fucking arm snapped off. Like, it literally snapped off. I barely even, I went, click! I'm like, what the shit? It's just... I got a Dollar General Darth Maul action figure up there. I got it for $4. It's better than the fucking Black Series figure.
Well, I'll give you a story that'll make you scream, because again, the factory defect or the factory mispackaging.
Oh yeah, I got a slave Leia up there with two right arms in the package.
Yeah, you've shown that before. But when I was in my early 20s, I had an apartment. I was collecting wrestling figures because I was during the time of the WWF's beginning of the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. So your biggest stars were like Ahmed Johnson, Psycho Sid, Steve Austin, The Rock was just up and coming, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, the wrestlers of that nature. And I had picked up a Psycho Sid character. And I say Psycho Sid because that's what the box said. But inside, it was Ahmed Johnson.
That shit goes for a lot more than you think it does.
Oh, I know it would. And I had it hanging up on a wall with all my other figures. And I went to work one day, and my roommate goes into the room and looks at the figure and thought it was neat that Ahmed Johnson was in the Psycho Sid box. I come home and find Ahmed Johnson out of the box laying on the floor.
Oh, my God.
And the box in the trash.
Oh,
and I flipped out. I said,
I've been there.
Why the fuck would you open it? Well, I wanted to see why they thought it was Psycho Sid. I guess he wanted to see if the boots were different or some shit. I'm like, you just ruined something that could have been worth a shit ton of money. Now, ain't nobody going to believe that was in that box. Pissed me off to no end.
I got one for you. Same lines, right? I don't know if you can see behind me. All of these are original trilogy collection, right? All these. I've got about a third of them. I used to have more. And when I was in the military back in 2012, I was in the military. It was when my dad passed away. I came home for his funeral and stuff. And when I joined the military, I had all this hanging on my wall. And I decided to put them away while I was gone, right? Because my mom and dad were going to use my room as storage while I was gone.
Right.
And so I packed them all into a tote, put them in my closet. Didn't think anything of it. Well, while I was home for like a week. And while I was home, I decided to pull them out, just kind of check on them, make sure the packages weren't fucked up, from being stored and everything. I start digging through them, and I'm just finding empty boxes. No action figures, just empty boxes. And I'm like, oh my God, you are fucking me right now. And the weapons were left in there, but the figures were gone. I was like, oh, motherfucker. Oh, motherfucker, oh, motherfucker. You do not fuck with a man's Star Wars collection. You do not fuck with a man's Star Wars collection. So I started piecing it together. I'm like, who the fuck would have been in here? Because some of them were open, but the figure was left in there, and the weapons were left in there. Almost like they were opening it, heard somebody coming, and then put it back real quick and ran. You know what I mean? Like, the only person I can think of is my cousin. Who is, by the way, he was a registered sex offender by the age of 18. Just letting you know that. Thought I'd throw that out there, too. But he's the only one.
We need to do an episode about your family.
I know. Oh, my God. It could be a fucking sitcom, dude.
Oh, my God.
And
a very horrible sitcom.
So I asked him about it.
Like Full House meets Dexter.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I just want to play with him." Play with him in the fucking box, Aubrey. Are you fucking serious? Like, no, you don't.
Are you sure he was playing with them and not using them as like, hey, little boy, you want some candy?
So he's telling me this on the phone, right? So
Right.
I told him, put your dad on the phone. My uncle, my dad's dad, my dad's brother. I was like, put your dad on the phone. So he gets on the phone, and I was like, Raymond, you better hide your fucking son from me, because when I find him, I'm taking what he owes me back, and it's either going to be in cash or blood. And I swear to God, I'm gonna. And to this day, he has not brought him around me. I haven't seen him since.
Well, see, I absolutely despise your cousin. I don't even know him just because of the sex offender thing.
Oh yeah, no, he was breaking into people's houses and sniffing their panties. But
That's illegal.
but well, the B&E is, but I'm the black sheep of the family. You know, like I'm the black sheep.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
But we're way off topic.
No,
Let's
way
get back
off topic.
let's get back on the subject at hand.
We damn jumped off that motherfucker. Shit.
You and I had this conversation kind of yesterday, in a sense. I mean, to kind of step off of Star Wars a minute here, we were having a discussion about Independence Day.
Okay.
And how they wanted to try to franchise Independence Day by coming out with a sequel 20 years later, and they failed miserably. It's a perfect example of like not going the right direction with the franchise. Mm-hmm. Now, I could argue the same thing about the Lord of the Rings. I know there are people that like the Hobbit movies, but I think the original trilogy of Lord of the Rings was great. I can't deny they deserve every accolade they got. But those Hobbit movies?
It's funny, whenever you do a prequel trilogy, they just tend to suck.
No, look, if you were to put the three Hobbit movies versus fucking the prequels? Star Wars.
Oh, no, Star Wars wins.
Star Wars. Attack of the Clones is better than the best of the Hobbit movies.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, and anybody who says otherwise, you just don't understand film. I'm sorry. You just don't understand film. I give all types of credit to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but those Hobbit movies were god fucking awful. I'm sorry.
On an adventure.
Yeah. You know, that again, that was going back to, look, just because you put fucking Gandalf in the film does not make it a Lord of the Rings movie. I've read the Hobbit book. The Hobbit book was great. These movies were nothing like that book. You know, but again, the franchise went the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, people can argue the prequels, but to me, the prequels were not bad. I think not in the sense of like the franchise going in the wrong direction. All Lucas did was decide to tell us how a slave boy became the destroyer and savior of the galaxy.
Real quick, did you see what I did there?
No.
You wanted to bring up Independence Day and Lord of the Rings, and I turned it right back around to Star Wars.
I see what you did there. Yeah,
that's what I did. Yeah.
Fucking mind tricks.
I know, right? It works every fucking time.
They do not work on me. Only money. But no. The prequels. I'm not saying they're good or bad. What I'm saying is I don't think they were the wrong direction for Star Wars, because Lucas really didn't change anything to make the prequels. All he did was tell the story of Anakin's rise and fall and redemption, as far as the saga was concerned. But the question is, after the sell to of Lucasfilm to Disney, is Disney taking it in the right direction? Yeah, we know where they're cash cowing the shit out of it, but are they really serving the story the proper way?
No, I'm going to say no on that. But I will say this too. You said you thought the prequels were kind of the right direction to go with Star Wars at the time. I don't think so. I think honestly, I think Lucas should have kept going.
I'm not saying
right after
I'm not
Return of the
saying
Jedi.
I'm not saying they were the right direction. What I'm saying is they were not the wrong direction.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference.
I think honestly, I think after Return of the Jedi came out, I think you should have started working on Episode 4 and made and continued Han, Luke, and Leia's story. And because now, think about it, right? Think about this for a second. The prequels could have been told at any time.
Uh-huh.
Anytime. You could have went back. Those could have been standalone films. Who gives a fuck? But if you'd have sat down, like if George Lucas had kept going with the classic saga, right? I don't want to say trilogy because it wouldn't have been a trilogy then. But if he had come out with, 4, 5, and 6 after that, and then maybe a 7, I mean, that's pushing it, but, at least a 4, 5, and 6. So you've got 6 films with Han, Luke, and Leia in it, right?
Right.
Then you go back and you tell that prequel story of 1, 2, and 3. Then why not, during that time, then sell it to Disney? And now by the time we start with episode 7, we're there. We know the story of Han, Luke, and Leia and everything up to that point. We don't have a 30-year fucking gap there where we don't know what happened. We've got it covered, and it's like all the way through, Because the prequels, you could cast anybody. Like I was saying earlier, Robert Downey Jr., some people are like, he's the only man that can play Iron Man. But had it been another actor and he pulled it off, some people would be like, he's the only one that can play Iron Man. Nobody else. Like anybody can play any role. I guarantee you could find another Obi-Wan other than Ewan McGregor. I guarantee you could do it.
I don't know.
But I will say this also, it kind of a little off topic, but not really. With the prequels, I don't feel like they should have actually shown Anakin become Darth Vader in episode 3.
It did sympathize the character a little too much.
Yeah, I don't feel like they should have changed him. Like, yeah, definitely show him going dark, but don't show him in the suit. Or not even show him going dark. Just, I don't know. Just end it in a way. And they should have ended episode 3 on a happy note where Anakin was still Anakin. And then when episode 5 rolls around, if you're watching him in chronological order for the first time, and then when you get to Vader, he's like, no, I'm your father. You can be like, what the fuck? No, he's not. He didn't. What the fuck happened to Anakin? You know what I mean? Like,
well, you got to remember, back in the day, there was no internet or anything else. When the original trilogy was out, which, by the way, I have a question for you and you guys at home. As far as the Star Wars saga and film franchise is concerned, back in the day, there was no internet or anything else. You had magazines, you had like movie books that would. I don't mean like the adaptation novelizations, but I'm talking about like the film companion books that you could buy, right. That gave you kind of the backstory of the characters or whatever the case may be. It was known since 1977 that Anakin Skywalker, since 1980, that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader. But it was known from 1977 that Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fought over a volcano, is how they originally put it.
Yeah.
And Vader lost, and that's what put him in the Iron Lung suit. Mm-hmm. So the fight on Mustafar, even though they changed the volcano into a volcanic planet, even though they kind of grand scaled it that way, Star Wars fans since 1977 were waiting for that ass whoop. They were waiting. Yeah. They were waiting for that fight as much as we were waiting for that hallway scene in Rogue One.
Yeah, because you've heard me say it right here on this show before. When I was watching episode 3 midnight showing, opening night of episode 3, when it got to that Obi-Wan and Anakin fight, I had to take a piss, and I wasn't getting up. I pissed in my drink cup. I'm not playing. I did it right there in the middle of the fucking cinema. I didn't give a shit. I wasn't going anywhere. Judge me if you want. I don't give a fuck. But that happened. I was not missing that fucking fight.
But my point being is that I'm fine with the fact that they showed him going into the Iron Lung, and I'm fine of the turn and the fight. I know they kind of dragged it out a little bit, but for the most part, I was proud of that fight. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen worked 8 hours a day, fucking for months on end, memorizing move for move. That besides like swinging from point to point on a string or whatever, or the force powers, every choreographed move, lightsaber battle choreographed move, was not sped up. It was not CGI. That was them. That's how hard they practiced that. Mm-hmm. Because that's how important that scene was to Star Wars fandom. And I applaud both of them for giving us that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That being said, though, I do agree with you that maybe it would have been smarter, instead of this 30-year gap to episode 7, if they would have done, even if they kept it at 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, or whatever the case may be, told the stories of Luke and Leia
first, and then went back.
And then went back to tell a story.
1, 2, and 3.
Maybe even have episode 9 end with Luke finding like Obi-Wan's journal that tells the story of finding this slave boy. And then it goes back to the story of Anakin. And
Because then you wouldn't have this giant gap either with technology. Because one of the biggest problems when I was growing up, now it doesn't bother me so much, but when I was growing up, it was, God, everything in the classic trilogy you can tell is models and stop motion animation and stuff like that. And then you go to the prequels and everything's computer generated. Everything's nice and clean and pristine, and it's like they don't even look like they're in the same franchise. You know what I mean? They don't even think they're in the same universe.
Hold that thought for a quick.
Yeah.
Agrodad Gaming, thanks for checking us out. And yeah, definitely jump back in for the Order 69 coming up right after this. Sorry, go ahead.
But if you'd have done something with, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? If Lucas would have kept going with those, then you would have this like slow progression from models and stuff, from A New Hope. And then it would slowly build up to what episode, whatever his 6th movie would have been. It would have been this slow progression. And then he could have went back to old school tactics and did 1, 2, and 3. And then when you go back to do the next ones, do CG. Because one of the biggest things I wanted to see in Rogue One was, the walkers on Scarif. I wanted to see him do stop motion. That would have been so cool. They were computer generated. Because even the ATST on Jedha was computer generated, and it moved just like the stop motion one from Return of the Jedi. But if it had been stop motion, dude, and it was an actual model, do you have any idea what that would have looked like in Rogue One? Because it would have blended perfectly with the classic trilogy. I think that's something. Yeah, I get it. It's modern times. You want to modernize the films and use CG. It's cheaper to use CG.
Right.
I get that. But with something like Star Wars, you're going to make your fucking money back on it. No matter what, unless it's Solo, apparently, you're gonna make your fucking money back on it.
Solo's gonna make his money back on DVDs.
It will.
And Blu-ray.
But why not go the extra mile? And instead of doing all the CG stuff in Episode 7, why couldn't they have done model shots or stop motion stuff? Why couldn't they have done miniatures like they did? Go back to the old school. That way, it all feels like the same fucking franchise.
Well, here's the question I was going to ask, and guys watching at home, you can answer this as well. At this point, 41 years past the original movie, The New Hope, we are now, what are we, 10 movies in? Yeah, 10. We're 10 total movies in if you're counting the 2 standalones. Plus plenty of spin-offs if you want to count in like the holiday special or the Ewok stuff. You don't have to. I'm just saying you could. And then, of course, the TV shows like the Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, Forces of Destiny. There is enough material out there. Is it even fair to continue to refer to Star Wars as the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, or just simply call it the Star Wars fucking saga? Is part of the problem with the Star Wars franchise the fact that we refuse to look at it as the Star Wars franchise?
You're still holding on. Let go.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
Is part of the problem within the fandom the fact that we refuse to just accept the fact that Star Wars is what Star Wars is now. And even though the original trilogy, and I'm kind of being a hypocrite in using that term, but the original trilogy was lightning in the bottle, but the original trilogy is still part of the larger saga.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it starts at episode 1 to episode 9. No, it's still.
I don't see a problem with calling them the prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy. Or I don't see a problem with that because that identifies those particular movies. They were in different eras of Star Wars. They're in different eras of the timeline. So I don't see a problem with putting a label on them like that. I don't because think about it. What are you going to call the Rian Johnson trilogy? That's what we're calling it right now, the Rian Johnson trilogy. The Benioff and Weiss series, we're calling those. That's how you identify certain story arcs. Because, yeah, it's one big saga, but the prequels told one story, the original told another story, and the sequels are telling a different story. So I don't see a problem breaking it down.
But again, think about it this way. Is the labels allowing people to no longer look at the story as a whole as a Star Wars story? Yeah, okay, we could separate it, but when you separate it, like when you're talking about a story arc, let's use comic books for example.
Okay. We
don't talk about like Star Wars 1 through 5, issue 1 through 5 as I know I'm saying this wrong, but as a Screaming Citadel story, and then 6 through 10 we refer to it as the Screaming Citadel story arc. and then 6 through 10 is the Hope Dies story arc. We don't refer to it as the prequel story arc and the original trilogy story arc. We consider it by its story arc. So wouldn't it be more fair to take the original trilogy and call it the Galactic Civil War?
Yeah.
Or the
Well,
prequels
see-
be the Clone Wars era,
Well, see- yeah, 'cause-
or the sequels being the Rise of the First Order.
Well, whenever I review stuff for the canon library, like like Dark Disciple, right? When I review Dark Disciple, I wasn't excited for Dark Disciple at first because I said it was prequel era,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't a fan at the time of anything prequel era. Now it's grown on me, but at the time, that's all I knew. I didn't know exactly where it took place because I hadn't read. I mean, when I announced when I reported on the book coming out when they announced it, I didn't know where it was going to take place exactly. And then as I read it, like, oh, this is Clone Wars era. This is prequel era. This is during the Clone Wars. So you look at Phasma. Where do you say Phasma takes place? Because it's between trilogies. Where do you say Bloodline takes place? Because it's between trilogies. So I mean,
Again, Rise of the First Order.
yeah. It's interesting. It's weird because I guess I never really thought of it that way.
Well, let's put real world spin on it. Is it fair, like in this modern day and age, where everybody's talking about race and everything else, to constantly separate amongst like whites, blacks, Hispanics, whatever, or simply just calling us Americans or humans?
Mm-hmm.
When you separate these,
There's
labels,
only one race.
right? But when you separate into these subdivisions, these labels,
That's when you start
people
getting...
take it as one thing is more superior than the other, instead of just accepting the fact that you're all part of a greater whole,
Yeah.
and all equal. Do you think it's time that Star Wars stops separating itself between these trilogies and starts considering itself this whole story?
I don't know. I see where you're coming from. I get the purpose behind what you're saying. But at the same time, it's look, go with me for a second because I'm gonna refer to it the exact same way of what you're saying. Is it time to the classic trilogy, right?
Right.
That is the best Star Wars we've got so far, bar none. Right? That's
Okay.
balls bone. That's pretty much everybody's general consensus is that the original trilogy is the Star Wars, right?
For the most part.
Right.
There's some people
But when
that actually prefer the prequels because
Right.
that was what they grew up
The
with. But yeah, I
generational
get
gap,
your point. Yeah.
But when you say the Star Wars trilogy, what's the first thing that pops in your head? A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. That, like, when you say the Star Wars trilogy. And it's so great. Everything that's come out since then, you've got a watered-down mixture of good, bad, mediocre, stuff like that. And it's, I guess, pretty good. Like Rogue One, pretty good, If you average all that out, it kind of takes away from the entire saga. It kind of waters it down a bit towards not as good if you look at it as an overall whole. You know what I mean? Instead of picking out the stuff that you like the best, and you throw it all in one big bin and average it out, it's really no different than any other film franchise. And it doesn't stand out anymore.
I think it still stands out. I think what helps Star Wars stand out is the constant battle of good versus evil. I think the Force and the Force users make Star Wars stand out from any other science fiction franchise, that is out there. You take away those elements, you lose Star Wars in general. And I think Solo really kind of proved my point with that. I think part of Solo's failure was the fact that the only Force Jedi thing that makes Star Wars that was even in Solo was a quick cameo appearance for fan service. That if that clip was never even in a movie, nobody would have noticed. Vader made sense in Rogue One, and it escalated the shit out of it. And you could argue the point all day. Chirrut was a Jedi. He may have been an untrained Jedi, but Chirrut was a Jedi. Okay, but in Solo, all you had was Maul show up for 2 seconds
Well,
in a hologram.
And you brought up Rogue One. When I went and saw Rogue One for the first time, right? It got, the Death Star hit Scarif. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Death Star hits Scarif, you see the wave, right? And it goes to space, and you see the shuttle flying off. At that point, this is before I knew there was a Vader scene. This is before I ever knew there was. This is moments before my life was fucking changed forever, right?
Right.
And I didn't know my life was getting ready to change for the better in just moments, right? So, and at that point, I was happy with Rogue One. I loved Rogue One. I absolutely had a blast watching Rogue One. I don't get me wrong.
But at that point, Rogue
the
One
Vader scene. But I didn't
But at that
it.
point, Rogue One, without the Vader scene, that point, Rogue One was riding on nostalgia. But if you took away the nostalgia factor, forget the fact that you saw cameo appearances of Rogue Red Leader and stuff of that nature, and you just take the basic premise of the movie, it is Battlestar Galactica. It is Star Trek 3 or 4. It's Babylon 5. It's any other science fiction movie / TV show out there.
I liked it.
Its elements was the fact that it was the recognizable Rebel Alliance. It was the evil Galactic Empire and its Death Star. It was the force of the Jedi and the loss of it in the universe, and then the rise of the Dark Lord, which, worlds changed with that Vader scene.
Oh my God! Like I think my jaw is still on the floor at the movie theater. I still haven't gone to go pick it up, and I remember, dude. Okay. Actually, just today at work, I was on YouTube fucking around again, and I watched. There's a video out of this. This group of people showed this girl the ending of Rogue One for the first time, and she's losing her fucking mind over it, and she's like bawling her eyes out. I think you've seen it.
I seen that,
long,
yeah.
Straight blonde, and she's just like, ah, I watched it, and every time I watch that scene, I still get tears in my eyes because I'm just like, and it's not even the Vader stuff that does it. It's the Tanev for and seeing them on that ship again. That's when you hear that, that klaxon again. Yeah, it's like. Oh my God, it's so good, and that's what brings tears to my eyes is seeing that ship again. It's not
even Leia, as imperfect as the CGI was on her and Tarkin, just seeing those characters absolutely brought you right back to your first experience of Episode 4. Absolutely, but that's again the nostalgia factor.
But they could have done that entire scene without Vader murking everybody in the hallway. It could have been them running down the hallway, handing off the plans. Take out the entire Vader thing, right? And it's just them getting the plans out of the machine, running over, getting on the ship, giving them to Captain Antilles, and then him giving them to Leia. I'd have been all right with it. I'd have been perfectly okay with the end of Rogue One because it would, like you said, riding on the nostalgia factor, which is what sold Rogue One for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyway.
But again, it goes back to what I was saying. If you took away the nostalgia factor and the Vader hallway scene, Rogue One is just any other Star Wars, or not Star Wars, any other science fiction / fantasy movie.
You could say that about any of the Star Wars movies.
That's my point. What makes Star Wars unique
about the nostalgia thing.
Well, not just the nostalgia, but the certain elements within Star Wars that is unique only to Star Wars. There are no Jedi or Jedi-like characters within the science fiction universe like the Jedi or Sith. There is no super weapons out there like the Death Star, and stuff of that nature. The closest you have is fucking Spaceballs, and that's only because it was a parody spoof.
She's gone from suck to blow.
Yeah, I would put the Death Star up against Mega Maid any day of the week. But that's kind of my point. What makes Star Wars unique, and my personal feeling on why Solo failed so badly, is Solo was missing the elements of what makes Star Wars Star Wars.
I don't think so. I think it was still all there.
Not really. There was barely any Empire. The Jedi were non-existent, except for, like I said, Maul for 2 seconds. And unlike Vader in Rogue One, Maul was literally fucking fan service. It was literally just to have a lightsaber ignite in the film. We'll make a hologram of Maul.
I don't need lightsabers though. I don't like that. I mean, yeah, lightsabers and the Force and Jedi and Sith, they're cool and all, but that's what sets Star Wars apart most of the time. But just give me a good story and I'm happy. Even before Vader popped up in Rogue One for the first time on Mustafar, I was already loving Rogue One because of the story. Because it had the Rebel Alliance in it. It had the Empire. I was seeing, Grand Moff Tarkin again. I was seeing Star Destroyer CG models that look so fucking good. They look like models, like literal models. You know, I mean, up to that point, you know, I saw the Death Star do its first test fire on a planet, you know, and it's, you see these droids, you see stormtroopers again, you know, these classic stormtroopers. And you hear that same generic stormtrooper voice. You know what I mean? That you know, it's that kind of nasally filtered voice.
Except for one of them, I swear to God, is Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
You know which one I'm talking about.
On the transport at the
On the
beginning.
transport.
I thought we
That
had
had to be
everybody.
Willem-
Yeah.
That had to be fucking Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
Dafoe.
no, I thought, was it another pickup? You know, like, but no, it's just stuff like that, you know, just seeing these new planets again, even seeing Yavin 4 again, you know, and in more detail this time, you know, and actually seeing the temples in the distance, you know, and stuff like, and sure, it's not John Williams music, but hearing hearing Star Wars music again, you know, Star Wars-esque music, seeing X-Wings again, like all that stuff, that was good enough for me. I didn't have to see lightsabers. I didn't have to see people using the Force. I didn't have to, you know, Star Wars is more than that. That universe is more than that.
All right, I just got some information, guys, to let you know. The Cocky Cockpit stream is going to be on Xbox One.
Oh,
sorry, guys.
Well, that means I can take my NyQuil right now.
Yeah, you can take your NyQuil. But you know what? We're gonna go ahead and get ready to end this stream here. But before we do, as he's taking drugs on screen,
Don't do drugs, kids.
Perfect.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Absolutely perfect. No, before we end this out here, there's one other topic of conversation. Brian has no idea I'm about to do this, but
oh shit!
In the past, past week, a new video game has come out.
Haha. Oh boy.
And this video game is taking PS4 by storm.
Oh my god.
And I know a particular person who is doing a live stream of this game for Press A Gaming. And I think he's far enough along. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there right now. I have not played it yet. I don't want spoilers, but fair warning, there may be spoilers in this. But I'm putting Brian on the spot right now. I want you to give me a detailed review of your thoughts and opinions thus far of the new video game Spider-Man.
Hang on a second.
As he's running to go get the case of the game, I'm pretty sure is what he's about to do right now. So, guys, have you played Spider-Man yet? If you have, let us know in the comment section what you guys thought. But here's Brian's review of it right now.
So, before I even get into the actual game itself, this is something that kind of stands out to me. I like game cases where you can flip the cover around on the game case, and there's cover art, different cover art for the case, but it still has the binding on it, so you can flip it around. I love stuff like that. Like, that is freaking awesome. Like, that is the shit, right? All right, so this game is an original Spider-Man story. It's never been seen in it's never been seen in a comic book. This game is fucking sick. It is so good. I thought the swinging was going to be a little more complicated than it is. It's so easy. It's literally just like it's simple. The acrobatics are easy. The fighting system is very Arkham-esque. It's very reminiscent of Arkham. The whole game is very reminiscent of Arkham. It's kind of Arkham set in Marvel, right? Because it's focusing a lot on Spidey's rogue gallery and stuff like that. But I'm loving the shit out of it. And there's so many surprises in it so far that there's been times I've been watching it, I laugh my ass off. There's times I'm watching it, my jaw drops. I'm just like, what? You know, I mean, there's on the last playthrough I did, this epic fucking thing happened in the game. And it's like, what the shit just happened? Are you fucking serious? Like, damn. You know, there's build-up. There's excellent character development in this game, especially with people like... okay, this isn't really a spoiler. Like Otto Octavius. There's some character development with him as he slowly becomes Doc Ock. And you see that transformation, and you can't help but sympathize with him. You know what I mean? So the character development in this game is awesome. There's been several surprises, like Miles Morales is in this game. So far, he hasn't popped up as a Spider-Man yet, but it's Miles Morales. Who else has made it a cameo in it so far? I mean, obviously, Norman Osborn's in it, but not as Goblin yet. If he even becomes Goblin. I don't know if he does or not. But some of the villains that have popped up in this are...
Well, see,
Yep.
here's my question. I've what little gameplay I've seen of this game, because again, I've been trying to stay very vanilla on it because of the fact that I want to play it myself and I want to play it blind.
Oh my god, it's so good.
You know what I mean? But from what I've seen thus far, and from what like you've told me thus far, it sounds like to me that it rivals or surpasses arguably one of the greatest Spider-Man games that have ever graced platforms before.
Spider-Man 2?
Which, no, Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
Oh, no, this is better.
But Web of Shadows at that point, up until this point, was arguably the greatest Spider-Man game, open world Spider-Man game that there was. I know some people thought Spider-Man 2. Some people actually even thought Spider-Man 3. Some people even argued for the first Amazing video game. But really, Web of Shadows was the definitive Spider-Man game for the longest time.
This one, they got New York right on this one. Like, I mean, like they really got New York right on this one. It's better populated than any Spider-Man game I played so far. There's actual like, you very rarely see the same people walking down the streets. You can do stuff. I mean, if you're walking through the streets real quiet, people will be like, "That's Spider-Man, take a picture." And you see people holding cameras up, taking pictures, and you can see people taking selfies with you in the background. Or if you hit the attack button while you're walking by people, he'll give people high fives, be like, "Nice shoes," you know. He'll interact with the people, and they're like, "Nice, Spidey," you know, stuff like that. And then you can jump and take off and go swinging. And as you're swinging, you hear people go, "There he is, take a picture," as you swing by, you know. And just the mechanics of it, the swinging mechanics are dead on. Like, you can actually feel the gravity of yourself. You can feel the inertia as you're coming down, and then as you're starting to fall, you can actually feel. Yeah, I mean, they got the physics right on it. You know what I mean? Plenty of moves to pick from, plenty of outfits to pick from. I just unlocked Iron Spider from an Infinity War. I just unlocked it. It's a sick suit, but there's some really awesome costumes in this. Even the first Stark suit from Homecoming is in it. And you've got Spider-Punk. I mean, you've got all these different suits, but you even get one for Black Cat by doing all the Black Cat stuff. You get like a Black Cat-esque suit. It's like an armored black suit with red eyes and a red logo, but the only thing I like is got claws, like cat claws on it, which is kind of stupid. But no, this game is absolutely great as an open world game. You can go anywhere, do anything. Jumping off Avengers Tower and hitting the ground it's like such a fucking rush. It's so good, man. You guys got to go check out this playthrough. I'm like 6 parts into it now, 7, I think.
One of the best things that I thought of Web of Shadows. One of the best things I thought about Web of Shadows was there was consequences for actions.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, whether you black suited or red suited, what you did, it had an impact on the game. Does this game have that mechanic in it as well, where if you turn around and you don't save an NPC, that has a serious moral impact on your gameplay throughout the rest of the game.
Okay, so throughout this game, J. Jonah Jameson no longer works for the Daily Bugle. He has a podcast that he pops up with on the corner. You can hear him doing this radio show, this talk show, every once in a while, just bashing the shit out of Spider-Man, right?
Right.
And at some point, sometimes he even talks about, like, he'll have people call in, you know, and he's like, "Caller, you're on the air," and you can hear him talking, and he's like, "Yeah," like one of them, like this is my favorite one. I got to go back and find this audio file because I got to play it for you at some point. But my favorite one is this guy calls in. He's like, "Yeah, man," he's like, "I was at this college campus and the demons were attacking and the police were there and they were fighting them and it was just this all out brawl." And J. Jonah Jameson's like, "Yeah, thank God for our boys in blue. They were there. They really stopped everything." And then the caller's like, "Yeah, Spider-Man helped too." And he's like, "Shut up!" you hear him hang the phone up like. Like, it's and then you hear him yelling at his intern, "Why'd you get him as a caller?" You know, shit like that. But depending on the outfit you wear too, has effects on that. Like if you wear the punk outfit, right, with the weird mohawk and stuff. Right. J. Jonah Jameson will pop in with an episode. He's like, "So get this, listeners." He's like, "Spider-Man was swinging through the city looking like a punk rocker." He's like, "Let me tell you something about punk rock." And he's like, "They hate authority," and all this stuff, and just starts ramming Spider-Man because of it. But then, like, if you're swinging through and all of a sudden you see a crime happening, right, and you can hear the police sirens, the gunshots going off, everything. If you swing on by and take off, all of a sudden J. Jonah Jameson's thing pops up, and he's like, "I got a caller on the air. You guys got to hear this." And the caller's like, "Yeah, I was just down by Central Park, and there was a firefight going on, and Spider-Man was in the area, and he didn't even do anything about it. He just swung off, like that happens in this game. Like, it's really cool the way it happens. But J. Jonah Jameson's podcast is my favorite part of this so far. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. It's just Jesus. It's fucking great. I love. No matter what you do, it pisses JJJ off. And no matter what you do.
Which is staying true to canon, Spider-Man canon.
Yeah.
Because Jameson hates Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, right on, Brian. Why don't you tell them where they can find you when they want to get a hold of you besides here on Breaking the Fourth Wall on twitch.tv and also on radiocastfm.com. We haven't mentioned that once this podcast, and I'm feeling kind of bad.
Yeah, we have.
No, we needed to.
You guys can also find me everywhere he said. You guys can also find me on War of the Stars with Mark Tully once in a while whenever I'm available. You guys can also find me at the YouTube channel Star Wars Canon Library. We just launched StarWarsCanonPodcast.com, and we just got the podcast on Spotify and iTunes. So make sure to go check that out. We just did episode 6 of the official podcast. It's episode 6. We've been doing the Canon Library for a while, but the actual podcast itself is on episode 6. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify. Also, make sure to check out the website, StarWarsCanonLibrary.com, which I'm not sure is actually going to be around much longer. I think I'm just going to transfer everything to the podcast.com site. So instead of having 2 different websites, I haven't decided yet. But one thing I wanted to throw out there real quick, very, very soon, and I say this every time, but we're getting closer. We're going to be purchasing military-style dog tags with the Millennium Falcon Star Wars Canon Library logo on it. And we're going to be selling those for $5 a piece, and all those proceeds are going to be going to Wounded Warriors. So keep an eye out for that. Those will be for sale very, very soon.
Also, don't forget, too, that we are still in talks with Janice Lydell about donation of a couple of the Star Wars and history books, which are out of print, getting her to autograph them. And I have decided that what we're going to do is we're going to eBay auction those off. Nice. And that proceed is going to 100% benefit. I was originally talking about Wounded Warrior, but I think it'd be better, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it would be better to benefit the Toys for Tots program, because I think we could do it as a Christmas thing, because I think these would make awesome gifts for a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm down with that.
So that's what we're looking at. I don't know how many we're going to get. That's still in question. I got to work that out with Dr. Lydell. But we will have this, and maybe I can even talk her into autographing these. So, guys, keep an eye out for that. We will, both on the Canon podcast, all the .coms, all the Patreons, all the Facebook pages and group pages and all that. We will make sure that link is out there for you guys to be able to participate, to donate, to help out. And, of course, like I said, 100% every ounce of proceed will go to Toys for Tots.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue with your.
Oh no, I was done. That's everywhere I was. That's everywhere I'm at.
Okay,
that's everything.
So yeah, you got 2 things that are going to be taken care of. 2 great organizations, both Wounded Warrior and Toys for Tots. So guys, please, if you do nothing else for Realm of the Mist or Star Wars Canon Podcast or anything of that nature, please help out with these, because we'd love to be able to sign over a really nice fat check to these guys and help them out, because they deserve it.
Well, also with the dog tags that are coming up, if you guys don't necessarily have to purchase them through us, all those proceeds will go to the for the Wounded Warrior. But if you just send us confirmation that you did a $5 donation or more, we'll send you the dog tag.
Right.
So yeah.
That definitely works out as well. Yeah. Guys, you can find me here on twitch.tv for Breaking the Fourth Wall, for Star Wars Canon Podcast, for War of the Stars, and about to be for the Cocky Cockpit, where Brian and myself will be doing a split broadcast. No, I'm not talking about Order 69.
Oh, what?
I'm talking about up and coming the return of Journal of the Jedi, which will now be a Realm of the Mist / Cocky Cockpit production.
Yeah.
A joint production. So you guys will be seeing that very, very soon. That will be broadcasted on the Cocky Cockpit Twitch channel and simultaneously broadcasted on Realm of the Mist channel as well. Also, of course, you'll be able to see me on the Cocky Cockpit Order 69 tonight, which will be on the Xbox One. And next week, Brian and myself will both be on the PS4 one. You guys can also find me on realmofthemist.com, the Realm of the Mist Patreon, the Realm of the Mist YouTube channel, and all points in between, guys. thank you very much for hanging out with us. We will catch you on Order 69. And, of course, tomorrow night, join us right back here on twitch.tv as Brian Miller and myself do another Star Wars Canon podcast. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And we will catch you on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall. Have a good night, guys.